I am so excited to have on the podcast today Gaby Narvaez and Andrea Hantman, who are two entrepreneurs in South Florida who I had the chance to meet in person recently as part of an Innovative Educators Network entrepreneur workshop. And of course, you've heard me say on the podcast before that South Florida, kind of the greater Fort Lauderdale area, is brimming with education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. The grassroots organization Innovative Educators Network is helping to bring together and build community around these entrepreneurs. And they estimate that in their network, there are over 125 microschools and pods and similar learning models supporting over 8,000 students a year. So just some incredible excitement happening in South Florida, really a beacon for what's possible in education and really inspiring other entrepreneurs across the country to think about education differently. And that's certainly what Gaby and Andrea have been doing for several years now as education entrepreneurs who've more recently sort of joined forces in a collaborative entrepreneurial effort around education. But both Gaby and Andrea began by opening their own, alternative education environments separately. Gaby launched Popcorn Academy, a bilingual enrichment program, and Andrea opened Play School Academy, which was an umbrella program for mommy and me programs and other sort of sensory play-based enrichment programs. And so they've more recently joined together to create Play K-12, which stands for Passion Learning Approach Year-Round, Play K-12. So we'll hear all about this in their own words and kind of the evolution of their entrepreneurial journey. But Gaby, I'd love to start with you because you sort of began your foray into alternative education and thinking differently about education, I guess just a little bit before Andrea. You started in 2016 on this journey and Andrea in 2017. So let's start with you, Gaby, and kind of what was happening for you and what motivated you to get into education, particularly because I believe your background is in law. And so, so that was quite a journey for you. So share a little bit about your background.
Hi, it's like I need to say this. It's our pleasure. It's an honor to be here with you today, Carrie. This is like my fan moment, so sorry, not sorry, but thank you so much for having us. But yes, as you say, like I'm Gaby Narvaez. I'm from Maracay, Venezuela. And when I was a kid, I went to a private school that it was like the very prestigious private school in my town, and even like in Venezuela, it was Instituto Educacional Aragua. And in that school, I went for 12 years and I learned you name it and they will teach us, like geography, languages, reading, writing, math, psychology, even chemistry, theater, chess, everything. It was like you name something and they have it on their curriculum. But unfortunately, I learned all that type of stuff, but I didn't have the chance to learn not even one single thing about me. So I was too busy trying to understand, because I never how to do it. I never learned to do it, but I was too busy trying to learn how to balance chemical equations that I totally forgot to learn how to balance my life. I didn't knew how was to be just me, or the things that I like, or the things that I enjoy. So here was me at 15 years old, ready to go to college, and with not even a single clue to know to what college even apply, because I didn't have idea of what I really like or enjoy to do. So of course it was this like pressure, because my parents paid this crazy amount of money for me to go to that prestigious school. And there I was a vase full of knowledgement and not even one single tool to like do something with that knowledge. So someone just say something like, "Oh, Gaby, you're very good, like talking back or saying stuff or advocating for like this or that. You should be, I think you will be good, a really good lawyer." And that was it. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to law school. And it was like, for some reason, I was just like enjoying the thing, and it was like easy for me because of course I have some um I was prepared at the college, the school prepared me to that academic challenge. But then 4 years later, I was just receiving my lawyer degree. And when I was my time to go to court and work, I was completely lost. I had the chance to receive good amount of money because it was like a good profession at that moment. And don't get me wrong, I think I was good doing my stuff, but I was completely empty. I was like, this is not what I want to do in life. So the economical and political situation in my country, in Venezuela, start to get really, really bad. And that was the perfect calling. I was like, okay, we need to go. My husband and I start to being chased and harassed by the political parties. And that was it. We just left Venezuela. And it could be like at the beginning, it could sound like a sad story, but it was the perfect moment for me to just discover who I was and just like have the time just to, yes, just press pause and have the chance to just sink, let everything sink and just be. So from the moment I realized that I didn't, it was not about who I want to be. I was already a whole person. So I start to tell my husband, okay, I think I'm already, after 26 years, I think I finally know who I am. And I'm not gonna let this happen to our kids. I'm not gonna just let them go to school to not waste, but spend 12, 13, I don't know how many years just learning stuff. And just because the system says that you need to learn this in order to be that, I don't need like nobody tell me that I need to learn this particular thing in order to know who I am. But it's like it's a tricky situation. So of course, when I was pregnant, I was already in my mind, I was like, okay, we need to do things differently. But someday I was in a park, like it was like a Monday at 10 a.m. and I was pregnant, and I saw this beautiful group of kids, like just barefoot, walking around, like multi-age. It was like a pregnant mom and a mom with like 3 months old, like on her arms, and a 7 years old kid just playing very nicely with the 3 years old. And I was like, what are these kids are not at school? This is so weird. And I just approached them, and they told me, oh no, we homeschool. And I was like, what is this homeschool? What is this about? Because of course in Venezuela, it's like it's completely illegal to do that. If you are 3 years old in Venezuela, you need to be at school. And it was like shocking for me, because I was like, okay, look at these kids and these moms. They are like, truly, this is like the definition of joyful learning. They were just like being themselves, and like there was like activities, and it was like a magical thing. And it was like it was wonderful. So when I asked, it was Miss Iman from Kine Academy. She was the one who was also starting her journey as an educational entrepreneur. And I was like, okay, please, Ima, just tell me what to do and I will collaborate with you doing anything. I know I'm pregnant, but I can do anything. And she was like, of course, yeah. So like, what can you do? I was like, okay, I can just like read to the kids in Spanish because I'm from Venezuela. And she was like, that's it. You're gonna help me with the bilingual parents and the bilingual kids, and we will figure it out later. And that's how all my journey started.
That's amazing, Gaby. And of course, the great Iman Aline, founder of Kind Academy, who's been on the podcast before and is really, again, helping to support and activate more education and entrepreneurship in South Florida. So I just love that story of you seeing this joyful barefoot group of kids in a park and said, that's what I'm looking for. What is this?
Yes.
And then, of course, have gone on to now create your own programs and continue to provide opportunities for other families in your area. So just so inspiring. Andrea, tell us a little bit about your story of how you came to alternative education and what your path was like.
Wow. Okay. So for both of us, Miss Iman has been a big inspiration. And I will say that thanks to her, we are here today. My journey started when my son, now 10, he was 5 in kindergarten. And he was 5 years old. My son is in the spectrum. He has autism. And since then, you know, like a few things happened at school that I wasn't too happy with. I met Iman, you know, at the library when she was doing like a 101 homeschool, you know, like a meeting for parents. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And I tried to get more and more information about it. But at the same time, I was running my business as a mommy and me instructor for different programs, music and movement, sensory play, and even Spanish, you know, story time as well. So with that said, when the pandemic hit, my son was mid first grade. And I was like, okay, we definitely need to do something different. This virtual learning is not working. I was so depressed. And the only one that I knew that it could help me was Iman. So I call her and it's like, you can do this. Just withdraw your kids and you got it. First, you need to de-school. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, well, that's getting the system out of your system. And I'm like, okay. And how long that takes? Well, in reality, it takes 1 month by each year that a child has been in school. I'm like, okay, that's not going to take that long then. Like, you know, in 2 months, I'm good. Well, no, it's been 4 years and we're still de-schooling because that happens every single day of your life. Then after that, you know, like Iman and I, we collaborated together with some of her programs. And she has been my mentor since then. Last year, looking for the right fit for my kids to be in, you know, like in learning pod, talking to Iman, is like, you know what, Andrea, I think you're ready to actually do your own thing. And she gave me wins. And then Gaby and I, we met when Danny was about 2 years old, my 10 years, you know, like Danny, and Sophia, my second child. She was about what, 18 months old?
Yes, like
at least.
6
She
months.
was very 6.
I think so.
Yes, because you were pregnant. That's right. And we met, you know, like right there, and we spoke, and then we disappeared from each other's life. But thanks to social media, we always reconnected. And then we used to find each other in different events, and you know, like in immense classes and things like that.
Yes, and the thing is that Andrea and I were both from Venezuela,
From the
and
same
we're
town.
both from the same town. Like we're both from Maracay. We never met each other in Venezuela
Nope.
because she left the country like
1999.
many years ago. But it was like, okay, how the odds? It's like incredible. So we immediately connect, and she was always doing like mommy and me and mom supports group, and I always support her and she always support me too. So we were like, even when we're not like together the whole time, we knew that we had each other.
And we always were connected in a way. Yeah.
So like last year when Miss Iman launched their Catalyst program, Create Your Own Kind, it was like the same for like Andrea. Iman told her, you're ready for your program. I was not sure because I was running just bilingual learning pods like Popcorn Academy. They were only bilingual learning pods where multiculturalism and like it's a language preservation project. And I was like, okay, Miss Iman, is there's a way I can offer this program at Kind Academy? And she was like, yes, it's a way, but I don't want you to do this program at Kind. I want you to launch that program like for anybody. I don't want this only for kids from Kind. It's something that you need to share with the community. And I was like, no, but I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I don't know anything about this. Please just like hire me. That's it. I don't need anything else. I was like too scared to make that step. And she was like, that's why this Catalyst program is for. So just enroll yourself. And that's it. Eventually you will learn whatever you need to learn. So I didn't know Miss Andrea was part of the program too. So when the first Zoom meeting, I was like just waiting, and I was like, Andrea, ¿qué haces tú aquí? No puede ser. Like, what are you doing here? Yeah. And we were like, okay. And it was Miss Iman that says, okay, I think you girls need to merge. And do something together.
So that's great. I love, Gaby, that Iman saw the entrepreneur in you before you did, and then encouraged you to launch. Andrea, what about you? What was it like for you to think about entrepreneurship? Was it, were you as resistant as Gaby was at first?
No.
Okay.
I've always been an entrepreneur in education.
Okay.
Pretty much. Like my career is actually business and marketing. Nothing to do with education as well. So it just, when I actually started helping Iman, it was mostly into the admin, business, and marketing aspect for Kind. And like when I started doing my Mommy and Me classes back in 2017, I started my own, like company, and then I created curriculum for Patuca Time, which is the messy sensory play program. So I create curriculum for all that. So technically, my entrepreneurship in education started right there. Not even when I became an instructor for Zumbini. It was mostly when I created my own program, to support early childhood, like enrichments and development. And always aiming for the neurodiverse community, for sure.
So I want to talk a little bit more about what happened next with Play K-12 when you collaborated to create that organization. But before that, I'd love to talk a little bit more about what you find to be the benefits of alternative education, sort of these more individualized, unconventional educational models. And Andrea, maybe we start with you because you had a child, I think just one child, that was in the conventional system who then moved to the alternative system. And then it sounds like another child who was in the alternative education environment right from the get-go. But I'd love to hear your reflections on that. What do you think is so different about the traditional educational system compared to these emerging alternative models?
Wow. It is huge. There is a huge difference, and the benefits are, like countless. Let's start just with the poor support families receive when you have a child in a school that has special needs. Just right there, everything is, falling apart. So my son, he entered the system when he was 3 years old. So instead of me going and getting, like play dates with my friends or just, going to birthday parties and things like that, my mornings and even afternoons, I used to spend, spend them in waiting rooms for my child to get in and get out of therapy sessions. Then when he was diagnosed with autism, he also aged out the early steps program. And then he got into Child Find. That is where they start specialized pre-K with the public system. I didn't know any better, right? So it's like, okay, I know I need help. I don't know what to do. It was my first kid, so let's go with the flow. So he entered the preschool. I was terrified because my son was nonverbal. So I used to buy like this little notepad and write down everything about my son. And I sent it with him the first day of school, asking the teacher to please write back how was his day. Okay, I go pick him up the first day. Nothing was written. Fine. The next day I say like, you know what? I'm trying to ask Danny, how did he do? What did he, did he like, or if he ate or not? And he comes here with no food, but then he comes back home with no food in his lunch bag. But then when he gets home, he's very hungry and he just wants to eat. And he's like, can you please send me a note today at the end of the day? Second day, nothing. Okay. I wasn't too happy with the school and the commute. So I changed schools and I finally was able to get him into my home school that is by the corner of my house. And things that were a little different. I started like advocating more. I learned more. And he ended up like the whole first year for pre-K there. He even participated into the summer, the specialized summer program. And then he entered kindergarten. 6 months after getting into kindergarten, February 4th of 2018, I will never forget, waiting on the bus stop for my son to come back from school, and he's not there. I call the school, and everybody says, Danny got on the bus. It's like, no, because he's not here yet. As I'm turning around and my husband getting ready in the car to go to the school, Danny, 5 years old, nonverbal child, was riding his bike from the school to the house on his own. So it was kind of a proud moment in the aspect of, wow, my child is capable. But obviously it was a nerve-wracking moment as well, because it's like, oh my God, so many things couldn't have happened to you at that exact time. So
and that the school had no idea.
Exactly. The school had no idea. Well, I went through the school system, and the board and advocates and things like that. But you know what? You never get into anything. So a few days later, 10 days later, we had a tragedy in Parkland. And that was kind of okay, so now it's not just, how poor the system is, but now we're talking about security, and safety. And talking to my husband, but it was always the fear of how I will be able to educate my child academically. Because moms, we're educators forever. We're the first ones to teach our kids how to say mama or ball, or, I want these, or, like the first steps. But when you think about the academic aspect of math, writing, like reading, and English being my second language, it's like, okay, no, I'm not capable to do this. I'm sorry, I passed. And then after that, obviously he finished kindergarten. We went to to first grade. And when the pandemic hit, that schools, the schools closed, I said, okay, let me see what I'm able to do. The teacher was sending us by email, some work to do and things like that. And I'm like, okay, let me try. When I realized that Daniel was on first grade and he didn't know how to use the number line, he was always a number off, like when he was doing addition or subtractions. I'm like, why? And then I realized that he didn't learn how to do that, but he still went to first grade. I'm like, okay, this is not working. And is when I approached Iman, and Iman said, you know what? Let's do this. You can do it. I called her several times, like, I'm going to quit. I cannot do this. I think my kids need to go back to school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to make it short, the system is failing in our kids because every child has a different way of learning. And it doesn't matter their abilities. There is no such thing as a being behind or being above or being a good or being a bad kid. It's all about the choices they make and how much exposure the parents, are able to give the kids for them to learn new things every day. Simple. I've been doing this journey, of homeschooling since 2020. And the system, the benefits are that they're able to be free. They're able to be themselves. They're able to figure it out what they like and what they don't like without the stress of, oh, but he's smarter than me. Or, the bullying and not being able to receive the services they need and the friendships. Like socially, our kids are more social than any other kid in the school. Because that's one of the biggest things that family, like people ask. Oh, but what about the social aspect?
That's the first question.
It's the first question. It's like, you know what? My child is able to interact with a 3 years old or an 80 years old person, and it's going to be just the same. And you know what I mean? Like they know the amount of respect every person deserves and the amount of help that everybody needs as well.
Okay.
So it's just being themselves is priceless. And I think that's the biggest benefits that I see in regards of alternative education.
Amazing. So Gaby, you were pregnant when you discovered that there was a different way of approaching teaching and learning, and it had been sort of percolating for you for a while in terms of your reflection on your own educational experience. What do you think is really the most different part of the way you have one child, or how many do you have now?
I have two. I have Luis Carlos, 7 years old, and Joaquin, my teenager.
Oh, so sweet. So what is the biggest difference that you notice between the way your children are being educated and the way that you were educated?
Oh my gosh, it's like I can start today and it will be tomorrow and I will keep talking. But just to say something like really quick, since my firstborn, since I have Luis Carlos, I start this pod and he went to Kine Academy, Nature, and all these learning pods. And sometimes we were at Zumbini with Miss Andrea. Other days we were at Patuque, like any classes that we had the chance to took them, we just take them. And eventually I create Popcorn Academy, the bilingual enrichment programs. And it was sort of just Spanish pod, because the moms in my community, we were all from Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Panama, Ecuador. So we really want to have Spanish as a primary language. We want to give them, our kids, that gift. And so that's what we did. So every day we met at the park from 9 a.m. to 12 or 1, and just like do some activities and free play and a lot of fun stuff. It was like a forever play date stuff. And not only the kids have the chance to connect, also the moms. Like we saw that we as a moms, we had that necessity, and more being like immigrants, that was something that it was like deeply in our bones. It was like the way that we connect with each other. It was our language. So the pandemic hits, and of course my son, he was like only 3 years old. I was already decided not to send him to VPK or anything. But then when the pandemic shut down, like when everything ends or something, we start the pods again. And some of those moms, they were like, oh, Gaby, I'm not gonna be able to keep going to the pod because I'm gonna enroll him at public school. And I was like, oh, you're sure here, like in US, like, are you 100% sure that you want to do that? And they were like, yes, because I need to start to work and it's going to be easier for me. I need to earn money and I cannot be like a stay-at-home mom forever. And I completely understand that, because there was challenge at my home too, because with only one income, it's like really, really hard, and even more harder here in Florida. So, but I was always like, okay, but I can sacrifice some stuff in order to be with my kid and being that person who teach them. But then when we start the pod, my son was the one who told me, Mom, I think I want to be at public school too. And I was like, no. And of course, like the whole thing, it was like the whole idea, it was that my kids have the chance and the opportunity just to speak for themselves. So with a very like pain in my heart, I enrolled him at the public school, and he went there. And of course, I was one of those moms that, okay, we need like a volunteer. And I was like, me, just call me and I'm going to be there. And I was there as a room mom one day. And I knew those kids because they were part of my pod. So as soon as I entered to the classroom, they were like, hi, good morning, Miss Gaby. And I was like, buenos dias, Valentina, buenos dias. And the kids were like, hey, shh, no. We cannot speak in Spanish here because the teacher, she didn't like when we speak Spanish. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you saying? ¿Qué estás diciendo? And the kids were like, no, because she says that sometimes we, like, if she don't understand what are we saying, it's rude to the other kids. And I was like, it's not rude. It's like, it's part of who you are, Valentina. It's part of who you are, Luis Carlos. You don't have to be ashamed because you speak Spanish. Like, it's something like your bilingualism, it's a gift. It's something that you should feel proud. It's an asset. It's not something that you need to eliminate from yourself, because your language, it's like deep in your bones. So then I talked with the teacher and she was like, yes, but not at the school. Maybe you guys can speak Spanish outside of the school, but not inside. And I was like, you don't understand. It's who we are. Like you cannot see the things that just keep us our distance. You just need to try to find the things that keep us close in our languages. It's one of those things. And of course, like 3 months after, Luis Carlos was already a homeschool.
Yeah. Wow. What a powerful story. And so it seems like in addition to the benefits around individualized learning and helping children kind of develop their own interests and passions, which you were saying, you didn't find in your own experience as a learner, they're also able to respect who they are and their culture and their language and everything about that. I think the term used was language preservation, which is such a powerful term. So just amazing. Okay, so then thank you for sharing again your kind of backgrounds and evolution toward alternative education and your own children's experiences. So then Iman sees in you as entrepreneurs and part of this vibrant education ecosystem in South Florida, the opportunity for you to merge efforts and create Play K-12. So tell us a little bit about that process of kind of coming together and creating this new organization and what it does.
You want to start?
Go.
I go. Okay, so at the beginning, it was like Play School Academy, Passion Learning Approach, and we were trying to fusion in somehow, popcorn and Play School. But Gaby's always been in love with just the word play and the meaning of Passion Learning Approach year round. So that's kind of what it got us to just keep the name of only Play K-12, so we can deliver, you know, from like actually pre-K to, you know, like a high school. Our journey, we're still discovering a few things. But in reality, we just want to bring to our community a place where everyone is going to feel safe in a space of belonging, where everyone can discover their talents and they're going to be encouraged to actually go ahead, show me more, or tell me what you need so we can guide you for you to achieve what you're looking for. What else?
It was like kind of hard for me, like you say, like Iman was the one who just told me you were ready, just like go for it. And then like 3 weeks after the program start, it was like the openings for the applications for Vela grants. So she was like, okay, this is the moment of truth, so you girls need to prepare everything, because I think you guys has what it takes to earn this Vela grant. The Kine Academy was also like, Vela was the one of those was the first of those grants that Kine Academy received. So she was like, this is gonna be huge for you guys, so go for it. But of course, the in the back of my mind, I have this imposter syndrome that says, you know what, you're I don't think you deserve it. And I was like, maybe let me write down this. And I spent like a month just like erasing, like copying and erasing 2 or 3 lines. And I was like so unsure, because of course the imposter syndrome.
And ChatGPT was not released back then, so we couldn't use it.
It eventually, like I remember I sent the application the last day, because for some reason I thought, okay, let me wait until the last day to have everything prepared, like my vision and my mission and what I do and everything. So like, I don't know, like a month after, I received the email, and it was like a validation of like my self-worth or something similar. And I was like, okay, I think that I'm finally seeing me what everybody sees.
I think that's so huge. I mean, the Vela Education Fund, gives these micro grants to everyday entrepreneurs who are building innovative out-of-system models. And certainly, the grant amounts can be really helpful. They're, sort of relatively small dollar grants, somewhere between $2,500 and $10,000 for the micro grant level, but can be a real game changer in terms of your outlook and view of yourself as an education entrepreneur and part of this kind of larger ecosystem of education entrepreneurship. So I think that's a common experience and perspective that so many Vela grantees encounter. And of course, then you're connected to the larger national network of now over 2,500 grantees within the Vela community. So tell us a little bit more then about Play K-12. It's really to foster play-based learning and alternative education for young people of all ages. Is it a physical location? How are families finding you, accessing you? What are they getting from the program?
Okay, so yes, we do have a physical location in Coral Springs. We offer services for kids, like we said, from kindergarten to high school. Currently, we have, it's like all mixed age groups, but they are grouped not by age, more by the academic levels that they share, right? We have a few certified teachers that help us with the core academics. And then Ms. Gaby and I, we try to take care of all of the interdisciplinary curriculum we tailor our curriculum based on each child's needs and learning styles.
So are the kids coming every day? Are they homeschoolers technically, or is it a private school? I guess, how is the structure in the day?
We're not a private school. We are more homeschool based.
Yeah.
Most of our families are totally homeschool families. They're able to come here for, it's a la carte. They can come here for 1 day, 2 days, or 5 days a week if they would like to. So when we open with with the idea to help the community in general. Try to make a program that is affordable and that is going to be helping families that are looking for alternative education, but unfortunately they're not able to do it on their own because they gotta work. So I see homeschooling, alternative education, as a privilege that many families are able to have, because like Gaby mentioned before, we need to sacrifice one income. So not everyone is able to do so. And we just wanted to offer the community a place where their kids are going to be okay, are going to be learning, and they still can go to work.
And is the program financially accessible for your learners?
Remote.
I guess, how do you work on, or how do you manage access in a program like this?
So we do receive a Step Up for Students scholarships.
Yeah.
We do receive FTC, the PEP.
So these are Florida's school choice policies, education choice policies that enable education funding to follow families. And those programs just went universal this past summer. Now all K-12 students in Florida are eligible under HB1, the new universal ESA. 9 states now this year have universal programs. So just to provide that context for those listening who might not know. Okay, so many of your students
it's been a blessing
there.
Because that opened up the possibilities for many families that have been looking for something different that just settle, for the public system or private or charter. So right now, our mission is to make awareness that there are choices. Don't settle for what you have. Look for choices, because you can find places like ours, and let your child thrive in these type of environments.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about that, because I think what's really interesting is for both of you, your discovery of alternative education models was, sort of unpredictable, right? I mean, Gaby, you just happened to go to a park and see kids playing and said, that's interesting. What's that? And then for you, Andrea, you weren't happy with the conventional system, but you said you didn't know better. And that's why you put your son into the conventional system to begin with. And it's why you kept him there, even though you said you did switch schools, but you're still in that conventional system, and it took a pandemic for you. So I guess, how do we build awareness around alternative education options and the benefits of that, so that other parents, might not have to kind of go through what you did of just happenstance of finding alternative programming?
Right now, I will say that social media, it has been the biggest platform where we can approach awareness. We see the needs in every single, community group, moms group, asking, what can I do with my child? I receive phone calls, like, honestly, every day, and they don't even know about, for example, the scholarships that have been offered now. My part in play, it's pretty much to support the community and more of the admin aspect and curriculum. And Miss Gaby is more about implementing, curriculum, and she gets the fun part. I get the boring part somehow. But when we are able to talk one parent at a time and tell them that they have choices, they reach out. They reach out and they want to know more. Also, we are planning to do workshops where we can have, some type of friends in the community talking about this, sharing their experience. We are, like a living example of what's going on, what we went through, and the changes that we have made with our kids, in our families, in our life in general. So this is not just like momentum only. It's a life-changing, situation.
Yes.
And it's a lifestyle that you adopt after you learn about it.
So, Gaby, maybe I can ask you, are you optimistic then for the future of these sort of decentralized, unconventional educational models in South Florida and elsewhere? I mean, do you feel like this is catching on and more families are gravitating toward it?
Totally. Like me I just cannot believe that my family in Venezuela, they are like, they think that I just lost it. They're like, what in the world, Gaby, that is a lawyer? She's like running a microschool and their kids are not enrolled in public school, because for us as an immigrants, we chase the American dream, and we came to America to give our kids the best. And for some reason, in our minds, the best as an immigrants is what this country offer us. And of course, that it's like the public system too. And then when you're here, you start to realize that this crazy and mythological American dream, it could be, it's different for everything, and sometimes it's a myth, and we only want to be happy and be together with our families and just like being healthy, and that's it. We realize that there's like, that's it, the American dream, it's you build your own dream. It's not about the American dream, it's about what you can do to make your dream life
come through.
And
that's what both of you are doing, right? I mean, you're literally building what you want for your children's education and for others in your community as entrepreneurs.
Correct. So at Play, we try to cultivate a transformative educational experience, and we try to empower each child as an holistic individual. It's not only it's not only about what you know academically, it's how you navigate in the world. So grounded, our mission is grounded in passion-based, it's child-based, it's child-led approach, and we try to nurture each child unique potential. So Miss Andrea and I are very committed to these alternative and out-of-the-box methods that foster curiosity and try to make the creativity of each child just flourish. Of course, we celebrate neurodiversity, and we recognize that every kid has their own way to learn. What fits for a kid probably won't fit for other, and everybody has unique talents. You don't have to be like Mariana or like Andreina. You only need to be like yourself. You need to be like Andrea, or you just need to be like you. And we try to create this inclusive and affirming space. We try to do skill-based programs, and each curriculum it's tailored to their needs, to every kid's needs. And in the curriculum, it's delivered bilingual. So it's like you don't lose, in case of my childs, that they are like part Latins, they don't need to become anything else. They are always gonna have that part of themselves, that the preservation of our language, that it's like super important for me. And for other families, like it's a gift, because even if you don't have Latin roots, it's always a plus. It's an asset just to speak another language.
It's a superpower.
It's
And we
our,
embrace that.
it's our superpower. So we aim to inspire these lifelong learners, and we try to equip the students with the tools to use in this ever evolving world. Like I said at the beginning, I was just like a face full of knowledge, but no tools to use them. So I'm gonna try my best to help the kids to find their passion and use them, and like figure it out what are like the position, their position of the in their families, in their communities, and eventually in the world.
Oh, I just love it. I love everything that you're building. I love that you're collaborating now to make an even greater impact for families in South Florida. I'm looking forward to visiting again. I just think there is such energy and momentum in South Florida when it comes to education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So it's a great place to be. Andrea, how can my listeners or viewers connect with you, find out more about Play K-12? And are you still kind of operating separately too? So Gaby, if there's another way that folks can connect with each of your programs, let's share that as well.
Well, social media right now, we're running both platforms.
Okay.
For Play School Academy FL,
Okay.
and then for Popcorn
Academy
USA, and then our website www. I don't think we use that anymore. So playschoolacademy.com, playschoolacademy.com, and obviously our phone numbers. Should I say it?
I think we can connect with you on Instagram.
Yes.
And what are your other, is it Facebook,
Instagram, YouTube,
and the website, YouTube.
And the website. Absolutely.
Amazing. Gaby, is that the best place for you as well? Popcorn Academy and Play School.
Yes,
Yeah.
Popcorn Academy US on all the social media.
And
amazing.
Something that I think is very important for us to add is that we just not support the child and their family. We also support the community in the aspect of other small businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals by using the community as a classroom. So that's part of who we are as well. And we always make sure that we have resources for every person walking through that door.
Yes, and
Amazing.
even the doors of our studio, it's open to any educational entrepreneur that maybe is trying to figure it out, a place to run their programs. We have a space here because that's something that happened to us too. It was like, not in my case, but Miss Andrea, she struggled like looking for a place to offer their programs. So when we create place, and when we create Play in this space, we always have in mind, have an open door for any educational entrepreneur in the community. If you are listening and you think you have a program that adds value to the community, just knock the door or send us a DM and come to us, because the door is open for you.
And we want to offer a place where they can always start up.
Yeah, that incubation environment is huge, not only because space can be difficult for early entrepreneurs, but just that support and that community as an upstart education entrepreneur is incredibly valuable. So just amazing work. I look forward to staying in touch with you and following your progress and visiting your space in Coral Springs. What a pleasure to have you today, Gaby Narvaez and Andrea Hantman. Thank you so much for being on the Liberated Podcast.